I want people to walk away with at least one thing of value, basically improve their life or their well-being. And I think that's the key thing for me. No matter how small it is, no matter how big it is, it's just that one piece, that nugget that they can actually then use in their daily life.
My next guest is a founder who turned his own pain into purpose. After years of struggling with a complex gut condition and the depression that came with it, Joel Gujral began to explore how the mind and body speak to each other, and how understanding that connection could help others heal too. He's now the founder and CEO of Myndup, a mental health platform supporting thousands around the world. His story is one of resilience, science, and self-discovery, a reminder that sometimes what breaks us open is what helps us heal. Today, Myndup partners with global companies to help people feel and function better. Joel, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. Before I actually sat down for this interview, I listened to your TEDx talk on the way over here. It was quite powerful. I think what made it more powerful is it gave a lot of context for the business that you've built, because you were quite honest and vulnerable about your own personal story. And I feel like that's where I'd like to start, if you don't mind. Myndup was born out of your own struggle. When you look back, what was that turning point that made you kind of take a step back and feel like, I have a problem and I want to do something about it?
Yes, so it was actually the first time I'd experienced depression. So I was working in a large global corporate company, doing like a finance graduate scheme, and I was doing really well there, getting the top grades, building lots of friends there and everything, and training to basically be an accountant as well. And I had like a gut condition that left me bedbound for 8 months. So I couldn't live a normal life. Some days I was in bed all day. Some nights I couldn't sleep at all and I had to sleep in the day. And it was obviously a very painful time as well. And after months of that, I actually then developed depression. But I didn't know it was depression. And until I had it for several months, and I found out it was depression. And by that time, it was almost too late. So I reached out to my company for support, and they signposted me to HR, then their insurance, but there was long wait times for counselling only. So I then paid for counselling, but the counsellor actually said, you don't need counselling. She said you need CBT therapy, coaching and mindfulness. So I actually found a CBT therapist and a guy called Jermaine, who's a coach and mindfulness practitioner, and they saved my life at the time.
Wow, that's incredible. But it's an important distinction to make. What made what you were going through depression and not just discomfort with what was going on with your body?
Yeah, so it started off as more like a lonely feeling, and then a lonely feeling mixed with anxiety, and then sadness. And usually that comes and goes, but this was getting worse and worse and compounding, basically. So because it wasn't just lasting days, it was lasting weeks and months, it really starts to change everything about you, mentally and physically.
And I imagine it made it a lot difficult for you to function outside of work or in work in any way, shape, or form.
You wake up each day, and obviously you're scared and worried because you've got health issues at a young age. But equally, you wake up and you do think, what's the point of life? What's the point of today? And it becomes quite scary because that's not really who you are.
Yeah, it's quite intense. May I ask how old you were at the time?
I was around mid-20s.
Yeah, that's quite young. And I think that's an important thing to say. Thank you for sharing that, because a lot of bodily issues sometimes have a tendency to get dismissed because, especially on social media, there are a lot of people that throw around terms like gut health, nutrition. There are so many people that have adopted the role of being coaches and are advising people, sometimes without the right background knowledge. So I think it's quite important here that really what the trigger was the addition of the depression as a result of not solving that gut issue, correct? Okay. What was your healing journey like? What got you to actually take action?
Yeah, when Dad is quite a, sort of mentor to me as well. And like he kept saying like, you're fine, you just need to think positively. And I tried all that. I tried everything, and it sort of turned into toxic positivity where you're almost trying to trick your mind, but something's wrong, and it was getting worse. So when I sort of identified and tried the things that I knew about or heard of from him or others or online and everything, then I thought I just need to take more action with things I haven't tried before. So that's why I tried the counseling, the therapy, the coaching, the mindfulness. And yeah, it took, sometimes it takes a while to find the right practitioner. But when you do, it is quite life changing, I think, when you gel with someone.
And you felt like since you were able to kind of try all these things and they worked for you, you packaged them into this new product, which is Myndup, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it was so important for me then to, I've done other businesses before, but I haven't been really passionate about them. And this is something I was really passionate about. And I just wanted to help other people in global companies that were suffering like me, where they were stuck or hopeless or alone and they don't know where to turn to, basically. So that's why I wanted to create MindUp as a platform to do that. And within 5 clicks, on MindUp, you can book in with someone same day. And that is the big sort of like thing for me that humbles me is seeing people actually being able to do that now.
That's incredible. When I think about it, though, an application like this is super important to have access to, especially when things like working with a coach or maybe a therapist in some cases can be quite expensive. I've heard CEOs and leaders say in the past that having that balance and your ability to kind of regulate as an individual is your own responsibility. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think when companies are a little bit further behind in their well-being journey, they have that attitude. But we are, we're in 2025 now, and like I think people are realizing that if you don't look after your employees, how can you expect good productivity, not for people to burn out or take time off sick? Because what is happening in their personal life is also coming into the workplace as well, because people are in work. And there's quite a lot of issues that even happen in the workplace. Like one of the main reasons people leave their job is because of poor management, for instance. So it is vital that you equip everyone really with the tools and everything. Because if you want a healthy, productive workforce, how are you going to do it if you don't invest in your employees and look after them?
I agree. I absolutely agree. One thing that you referenced in your talk was this idea of regaining control of your day to day with kind of small, achievable steps. How do you balance control with acceptance?
I think the main thing is that you have to basically look at a situation, what you can control, and then you accept that whatever your path and the universe means for you, then that's all the stuff out of your control. So the only thing really you can control is like the version of you that's showing up. Are you showing up as 80%, 90%, and you work on that? And then you have to leave it to the universe and God and the world or whatever you believe in to do the rest. And you have to trust in that process. Whatever happens, you can handle it. And like that's the biggest sort of learning that I've had.
That learning also kind of showcases how self-aware you are. I'm curious, how has this impacted your role as a leader and in the way that you lead?
Yeah, definitely. I think when I first started leadership, I was like telling employees what to do. And then I realized through even having leadership coaching myself and working with other CEOs and leaders and being mentored that you to empower employees and others, you have to basically coach them to the solution and let them figure it out as well. And otherwise, they have reliance on you for every small decision and they're not learning the principles. And then they can apply those principles to other things if they learn in the right way. So it is really important to basically, ask them questions, let them figure it out and get to the solution. And even if they have to fail, that's great because then they're going to learn from that rather than say relying on you for the answer all the time as the leader.
That's super insightful. One thing that I do think is key, though, is this idea of communication. You referenced it in terms of the communication that happens between a leader and, a colleague or a coach and, their client. But if we're kind of going back to the individual, you referenced this idea of communication between the gut and the brain quite a bit when you were experiencing what you were experiencing. What are some kind of key learnings from the science aspect of that we can that you can share with us that can allude to metaphors in the way that we communicate with other people externally?
Yeah, so it's very interesting. So my whole thing was that I thought that my gut condition, was causing my depression, which it was doing actually. But what I didn't realize is that actually, because I was had an unconscious level of stress that I couldn't really feel, it wasn't sort of conscious to me. That was actually causing my gut condition. There were neurons that were firing in misleading ways. So a lot of the stuff that I do is now is trying to calm that unconscious level of stress. So when we communicate with others, practicing gratitude. love and compassion towards others, and if things are, say, getting heated and stuff, rather than sort of like blaming someone, you can see why they coming from it from that place, trying to understand why they are and being a good listener as well. And I think the key thing is if you can do all those things, you're going to be better yourself, but also better for the world as well. And I think like that's the main key thing. Yeah.
In terms of the platform itself, what do you think makes Myndup different from what's already out there?
Yeah, so we're one of the only solutions that is stopping this one-size clinical-only crisis support approach. So we don't offer just coaching or just therapy or just counseling. We offer therapy, counseling, mindfulness, the whole suite from if you're in crisis to if you're thriving. And on one platform, you can have crisis suicide support or leadership coaching or well-being content, depending on how you learn or what you feel like. So suddenly we're not catering for a small section of employees. We're catering for the diverse needs of your global employee population. And that's the main thing, because you never know what anyone is going through and what they need as well.
I would also argue that what you guys are targeting is overall wellness versus just a mental health issue or whatever it may be, which is a lot more holistic if you think about it, because it's the best form of protection is prevention, right?
Yeah.
So kind of being one step ahead of getting into that mode where you are too anxious or are too stressed or whatever it may be.
Exactly, yeah. And I said in a talk yesterday, actually, that I've had some of my best coaching sessions or therapy sessions when I've been excelling or really thriving, because I'm maintaining that level, but also I'm being pushed into levels that I've never even got to before, that 1 or 2% better. And it's some of those sessions have been the most impactful for me. So I think it's really important we sort of rebrand mental health as not being mental problems. That's the very sort of big thing I'm really sort of pushing.
I like that. I like that rebrand. And how do you feel like in the conversations you are having, whether it's with investors or people in kind of the entrepreneurial sphere of building this business, and also what you're seeing with a lot of your clients, how has that changed the conversation about mental health?
Yeah, I
or
think
mental wellness?
Yeah. I think there's obviously a lot of people I speak to. Some are ahead of the wellbeing journey, some are like where it is now, and some are a little further behind. But I think people listen to my story, especially, and can see that if I caught it earlier than when I was suicidal or in crisis, I could have bounced back so much quicker, and I wouldn't have got to that point. And I think then once they've heard that story, they can relate that to other employees' journeys and think, oh, actually, you make a good point. We do need to have preventative solutions, not just reactive as well. So I think storytelling and sharing stories has been quite impactful for me to kind of get the message across to different people, no matter where they are on their journey of well-being.
When you talk about suicide, a lot of people in the past on this show and other shows have talked about suicide really being more of either a cry for help or a solution that they think is going to make the pain stop. And I feel like, especially if we're talking about seeking help, a lot of the time when someone is struggling, whether it's physically or emotionally or all of the above, it becomes very difficult to regulate yourself. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love to dig a little bit deeper into that time in your life, because, what was it that helped you kind of see the light when you were in the darkest of days? And maybe what is something that you can share with someone who is going through something as dark right now?
I think it's very difficult in the moment to sort of zoom out and look like holistically at it. But I think whenever we are sick or ill and, we're going around to countless doctors and they can't solve it, we sort of think there's no hope or way out. But then when you look back at those moments in 2-3 years' time, you realize that was just a moment in time. And it's, having that belief and that confidence that no matter what happens, you're going to get through, one way or another. And however hard it is, however tough it is, however many people it hurts, because your friends and family are going to see you suffer as well. Like, you just have to get through this period, and the universe is giving you that for a life lesson as well, and you're going to come out stronger than you were before too. So I think you just got to trust the process, trust your body, and know you're going to get there. And that it's just a moment in time. I think that's the biggest thing.
A moment in time that will pass.
Yeah.
And will provide you with the needed perspective, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. And in terms of the way people can use the application, do they have to be working at a company or can anyone just download this application?
Yeah, anyone can book in actually. We normally do work with corporates and then their employees get it for free because the corporate will fully fund it, which is brilliant. But yeah, anyone can go on our website and book a session and pick, across multiple practitioners, 40 languages and book same day sessions.
Is Arabic one of them?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's incredible. That's really incredible, especially because you said it's the spectrum of mindfulness all the way through to help and speaking to someone. Very interesting. Do you think that the corporate world, especially in an age where productivity and persistence and grit and hustle are very much glamorized, almost to a fault, are they interested in adopting these types of support systems into their kind of work ecosystem for their employees?
Yeah, definitely. It depends on the culture of the company. Again, how far they are in their well-being journey. Some people are still reliant on EAP or insurance, employee assistance program or insurance, but others are really, funding lots of benefits. Like Monzo is a great example of a brand we work with globally, and they're absolutely brilliant. They really look after the staff, empower them, and offer a whole suite of benefits outside of the kind of clinical or crisis support as well. So, yeah, it really depends on the culture of the company and how sort of visionary or forward-looking they are in terms of employee well-being or wellness and benefits. But we're definitely seeing globally, we're across 50 countries at the moment, working with so many different sectors from construction to private equity to real estate. And we could even talk to the number one biggest company in real estate, then the number two biggest, and one of them could be looking at well-being, the other one might not be. So there's no pattern to it. It just depends what their culture is internally, basically.
Does that mean you would have some sort of a conversation with kind of their brand or their marketing teams, or is this a conversation that happens exclusively with their HR teams?
It could be from anywhere. Sometimes it comes from the CEO directly or one of their board members, sometimes into HR itself. I think some of the most powerful partnerships is when they do have senior leadership buy-in. So when the CEO or COO or other C-suite or board members are involved, it is really powerful because we'll generally do like a launch webinar to all staff and everything, and we'll want to bring in the CEO or chairman or board members, and we want to open up the conversation on mental health. So to have that and see the leaders sort of leading from the front like that is been very powerful for us.
I would imagine so. When you say leadership buy-in, we're not just talking about buy-in for this as a product within their existing work life, right? They're actually on it as well. They're using it as leaders.
Yes, so I'll give you an example. So there's a global investment bank we rolled out with, even across the Middle East as well. Their founding partner and COO actually used the service and it changed his life.
Wow.
One of his family members used the service as well. And when we were rolling out globally, he said, I will come on an all-staff webinar and share my story alongside yours. And they've never had many bookings for therapy or anything. Straight after that webinar, we had 45% of bookings coming from director and managing director level in the first time of the company's history.
Wow. That is incredible. That is really, really incredible. Congratulations.
No, thank
It's a
you.
testament to what you've created. That's huge. Joel, if pain was your teacher, and I think in this case it very much was, what has peace taught you?
I think before I would sort of run away from quietness or peace and always want to be on the go. But I've actually realized that for me to thrive in my own well-being and stress, anxiety and everything, I have to really lean into that discomfort of sometimes hours long of peace. You know, I even spent the whole day on Saturday just by myself in my own thoughts, my own moments, doing a couple of hours of meditation and just doing wellness activities on the beach here. And it was brilliant. A few years ago, I couldn't be comfortable with peace, but now I am. And I've had to really lean into that discomfort and it's serving me really, really well. Although it was difficult for me to gather a good relationship with peace.
If I were to ask you what that version of yourself needed at the time, because it's one thing for us to kind of go through this as individuals. It's another thing for the people around us to feel helpless and not know how to help. So wonderful application aside, what would you have wanted or needed from someone else at that time?
I think the number one biggest thing is the self-belief in yourself. so then you can trust your own body. And by having that and basically having that broken down to me to see what that actually means would have been so helpful, because now the way I approach illnesses and physical illnesses that I have is so much different to before. I was operating before at a much lower vibration, and then things would spiral. I'd get one illness and another one, and I didn't know why. But if you can keep yourself calm and grounded and at the right energy and vibrational levels, you can really trust your body and push your body and manifest your way out of a lot of things as well, and put yourself in the best position, to get through whatever life throws at you.
That's powerful. That's super powerful. In your TED Talk, you said that you reached the happiest point in your life while still dealing with the condition that you were in. What does that teach us about success and peace coexisting at the same time? Because I also feel like this is something people get wrong. There's an assumption that I'm cured, I'm done, which is a bit naive.
Exactly. So, it's a big misconception that you have to basically have had everything to then be happy or have peace or no stress. And I experienced that with even Myndup. As I was growing the company, obviously I was in the weeds a lot, working really crazy hours. And as we grew the team, suddenly I had more time. But then there were periods during that where I'm not happy and I'm still stressed, but I don't have all the high volume work happening 24/7 going on anymore. And it really sat with me, because I thought then something's missing. So I went on a journey of inner freedom, basically, because I thought if I am free and well personally, no matter what happens externally, I will be fine. So I spent some time with monks living in Nepal with them for a week, which was absolutely brilliant. And they, again, were teaching all of that kind of stuff. Don't control your outside world, control your inside, and have peace and gratitude for whatever is happening on the outside. So I think no matter what is happening there, all you can control is your inner ability. And then that will help you get through that external stuff even better.
Are you a religious person?
I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's super interesting. What do you hope people feel, not think, after using Myndup?
So I think the one thing really why I set it up and what people is that I want people to walk away with at least one thing of value. Whatever that is, just that one thing that they can go away with, and then basically action and basically improve their life or their well-being. And I think that's the key thing for me. No matter how small it is, no matter how big it is, it's just that one piece, that nugget that they can actually then use in their daily life.
Joel, I usually end all my episodes with a question for my guest, and it's to ask you if you have something you would like me to consider or a question that you'd like to ask me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in terms of throughout your journey, what was the biggest or most impactful solution that you had? Was it your own self-development, or was it coaching? Was it therapy, psychology? I'm always interested to see where people sort of navigate to.
That's a good question. I went through my own extreme burnout, which led to actual medical issues in my life. I had to go get surgery. So I went through kind of a long journey that required major pivots in my life. That being said, what I felt was most beneficial for me was the realization that I needed help and I had to ask for it in order to get it. It wasn't just going to show up for me. And it showed up in different ways once I realized that I did want it. EMDR as a therapy practice helped me a lot. Journaling, gratitude journals helped me a lot. It's incredible because it sounds very woo-woo to a lot of people, but it's incredible how much the simple act of journaling what you are grateful for changes you. And I see the difference on the days when I do it versus the days that I don't do it. And also keeping up with my physical health exercise completely changed the dynamic of my life. So I feel like those three as a combination, along with me being a lot more aware that I needed support and help and I needed to ask for it, I think those were the biggest game changers for me.
That's amazing. So you've got a few things there on the physical and mental side.
Absolutely. Well, Joel, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure getting to know you. And I look forward to checking out the app.
Amazing. Sounds good.
If anyone's interested in keeping in touch with you, what are the best ways to contact you?
LinkedIn is the best.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. And to all our listeners, as always, I hope you found something to consider.